What is up, guys? It is Max here, and today I'm bringing you a $530 PS4 knockoff build. Since I just got back from summer camp and I haven't made a video in a while, I decided to do something different. So here it is. This build is aimed at giving you similar performance and looks to the new PS4, which is coming out of the holiday season. Although this does cost more than the actual PS4 itself, it will give you improved performance because it has its own dedicated graphics card and because it has other improved components. This build will be able to run the best games out there on the market at high or maybe normal settings depending on how graphically intensive they are. For example, Crysis 3 will be able to run at normal settings, but Battlefield 3 and Far Cry 3 should be able to run on high just fine. So this build will cost you around $530, as I mentioned earlier. All the links to the parts will be in the description below, but that's enough introduction. Let's get on with the build. To start it all off, we're going to be using an AMD FX 8320 CPU. Now the reason I chose this processor is because it's quite cheap, especially because it has 8 real cores, just like the PS4 does. This processor handles pretty much any game that's on the market today that you throw at it. Out of the box, it comes clocked at 3.5 GHz, which is quite a lot, and it should be enough for running like normal day-to-day tasks. And and most games that you like throw at it, like maybe Far Cry 3, Battlefield 3, even Crysis 3, as long as you turn the settings down a bit. But should you choose to overclock it, it is unlocked, so that makes it easy to overclock it up to 4 GHz and possibly even more. It comes with an AMD stock fan, which it will do just fine for the overclocking. I personally think that the AMD fans are much better than the Intel fans. The AMD stock fan actually comes with heat pipes included, which is nice. But yeah, it's a great processor, and it will suit us perfectly for this build for just $190. Next, for a motherboard, we are going to be using an MSI FM2 A75IA E35. Now, ignoring the obnoxiously long name, it's a great mini ITX motherboard used in many builds. It supports up to 16 GB of RAM, which is more than enough for an average gamer, and it has one PCI Express slot for our graphics card. It includes 2 USB 2.0 and 3.0 ports, support for HDMI and VGA output, as well as 2 DIMM slots for a RAM and 4 superfast SATA 3 ports, which transfer up to at a rate of up to 16 gigabits per second. All in all, it's a great choice for our build for only $85. For the graphics card, we will be using a low-profile 1GB XFX Radeon 7750. This graphics card may be a little out of date, but it still runs any game out on the market just fine. Battlefield 3 can run on very high or even ultra settings at 1080p. Far Cry 3 will be able to run on very high settings at 1080p, just as long as you turn off anti-aliasing and SSAO. We can also get the maximum performance out of this card because it's a direct pair to our processor, the FX 8320. It's perfect for our rig for only $77. For the memory, we're going to be using 8 GB of G.SKILL Ripjaws X Series RAM. Now this is absolutely marvelous RAM for a great price. It's clocked at 1600 MHz, which is great for any game out on the market today. One reason we're using 8 GB of this RAM is because it's basically the perfect amount for any game out there, and because the PS4 has just as much in it. Obviously we're doing a copy of the PS4, so we're trying to get as close to it as we can. Of course you can install more or less memory if you wish, but that is something I'll leave up to you. It uses the latest DDR3 technology, making it extremely fast. This is pretty much the best RAM you can get without going into the performance gaming area. It's a great performance to price ratio for only $67. To hold it all together, we're going to be using an APEVIA XFit 100 case. Now this is a beautiful mini ITX enclosure that's perfect for our build because its size is similar to the actual PS4 case, and it follows the same color scheme too. It's actually even smaller than the PS4, being about as big as a Wii. It'll perfectly fit all of our components, and it comes with a SATA cable, as well as a 250 watt power supply already installed within the case. This is very convenient for us, and it saves us some money. This case has great ventilation, which makes up for the lack of included fans. Unfortunately, because it is so small, it may be difficult to work in, but there aren't any other real downsides. Also, one upside to it being small is that all the cables can be grouped together easily, and it can virtually fit anywhere you place it. It's a great case that will work perfectly for us for only $50. For storage, we're going to be using a 500GB Western Digital Blue 2.5-inch hard drive. Now, Western Digital is a company I trust. I even use one of their own hard drives in my build that's under my desk right now. 500GB is plenty of room for games, music, pictures, and other stuff that you might want to store on your computer. Because our case comes with a SATA cable, as I mentioned earlier, we won't really have to worry about buying a spare, even though this ships as a bare drive. at just 500GB because it matched the specs of the PS4, since we are trying to make a similar system ourselves, and because it was the biggest 2.5-inch hard drive I could find. The reason we aren't using a 3.5-inch hard drive is because our case only supports one 2.5-inch storage device, which also unfortunately means that there is no room for an SSD or something of the sort. On the other hand, it is small and compact. It's a great choice for us for only $55. Finally, I picked a Rosewill ROD-EX002 slim aluminum DVD reader/writer to finish our build off. Although this part of the build is technically optional, I decided to include it because it is useful to have a CD/DVD burner around just in case, and because we are in a way copying the PS4, so I thought it would be a nice final touch. This CD/DVD reader is a slim design because that's all that our case will support, but even so, it does look nice from the outside, and it functions just as well as a normal sized DVD reader/burner. It's a nice final touch for only $40. Anyways guys, thanks for watching my PS4 knockoff build video. All the links to the parts I mentioned will be in the description for your convenience. Should you enjoy this video, please be sure to leave a like, as it really helps me out a lot. But anyways, that's all for now guys. This has been MaxBond67. Peace.